Right, kia ora team. Today we are looking at perimeter and area for squares and rectangles, and we'll also work our way into looking at how we calculate the area of triangles as well. So I'm going to crank straight into this. I'm going to try to cut the video links down from here on in. So I'm just going to shut the screen quickly. Whenever we're looking at perimeter and area, we're looking at shapes. Now, perimeter is basically a very simple definition, is the distance around the outside of a shape. So we're looking at four sides of a square or the four sides of a rectangle here. Now, the first thing of note is a square. Obviously, one of the key characteristics or defining features of a square is that all four sides are exactly the same length. So I've put an 8 centimetre on all of those sides, but realistically I could have just left one 8 centimetre there. With a rectangle, the two sides of a rectangle are the same. These two lines here, or these two sides, are parallel. And we've got our B's. They are also going to be the same length, but they are going to be different to our A's. Which means that we get a rectangle shape instead of a square. So we have two different length sides when we're looking at a rectangle. And so on this one here for A, I've put 9 meters, and down for our height, I've got 6 meters. Now, one really important thing is I've put in a unit. When we're looking at measurement, we always need a unit. In this case, for length, I'm using centimeters and meters. So whenever you're calculating your answers as well, it's also really important that you are including the units of whatever you are measuring. So perimeter, the distance around the outside of a shape. So in this case here, it is really easy for the square. It is there's two ways I can do this. I go 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, which is going to give me 32. Or I can use my multiplication facts, and I can work out that 8 times 4 is going to give me 32 centimeters. And so my answer here for the perimeter of the square would be 32 centimeters. Easy as, done and dusted. This one here, for my rectangle, I've got a 9, and I've got two lots of that, and I've got a 6, and I've got two lots of that. So I could either go 9 plus 9 plus 6 plus 6, or again, I'm going to use my basic facts. So I'm going to go 6 times 2 is 12. And again, I might not have to write this down. I could just be able to do this in my head. 9 times 2 is 18. Add those together is going to give me 30 meters. Remembering that I'm including my unit. Sorry about the lettering. I'm not very good with this mouse tool. So that is perimeter. The distance around the outside of the shape. It is the same for any shape, whether it's a triangle, an octagon, whatever it is, your perimeter of that shape is just the distance it takes to work your way around the outside. Awesome. So now let's look at area. Now, area is basically measuring the space within a shape. Now, you can see I've done these lines here because perimeter, obviously, we're looking at the outside, and area, we're looking at measuring the inside of a shape. In the case of a square or a rectangle, there's actually a really simple formula that we follow, and that is just height times width is going to give us our area, and it's going to give us our area squared, and I'll go over why that is in a little bit. Now, in this case here, I've got a height of 8 centimeters and I've got a width of 8 centimeters, obviously because I have a square. So my height times my width is 8 times 8, which is going to give me, I know that is my basic fact, of 64 centimeters squared. Now, why is it squared? In this shape here, there would be 64 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter squares that make up this shape. That is all it is. If it was a 3D shape and you were working out the area of a cube, say, then it would be 64 centimeters cubed. But you'd have another equation in there because it would become height times width times depth if you were adding in the depth of a shape as well to make it a cube. In this case, though, we are just looking at 2D shapes, so it is just height times width. The same for this rectangle here. We've got a width of 9 meters and a height of 6 meters. So when I times my height times my width there, 9 times 6 is 54 meters squared. And again, that's showing me that there would be 54 1 meter, obviously not actually 1 meter, this isn't drawn to scale, but 1 meter by 1 meter squares on the inside of this shape there. So just to recap, perimeter, the outside of a shape. What do I have to add up or times together to make the distance around the outside? Area is calculating the or measuring the space within a shape. And for rectangles and for squares, we follow that really easy formula of height times width. And we include our unit in our answer. And whenever we're doing a 2D shape, our answer is always squared. Awesome. So we are now going to have a look at the area and perimeter of a triangle. Now, I've put a triangle up here. I am not going to take very long to talk over the perimeter because, again, the perimeter is just that distance around the outside. For here, we've got 6, 6, and 8, which I know is going to give me 20 meters for our perimeter. So I'm just going to put P there, perimeter. Again, apologies for the horrendous handwriting on here. And now area. So area for a triangle has a slightly different formula. So for squares and rectangles, it was height times width. We still use that, but what we then do is we divide it by 2, or we halve it. And basically, because a triangle is half of a square. So you can see this triangle here with these dotted lines, you can actually see that the triangle is making up half of the square. If I do this height times width, the 6 by 6, it's going to give me the area of the whole square, all of it included. I don't want all of that, I only want the half of it that's making up my triangle. So in this case, my height and my width is going to give me 36, because 6 times 6 is 36. And then I divide it by 2, or I halve it, and I know that it's going to be 18, because half of 30 is 15, and half of 6 is 3. Put those together and get 18. And again, it's 18 meters, that's my unit, and again, squared. So just to recap, the area and perimeter of a triangle, the key difference here between rectangles and squares is that when we're working out the area of a triangle, we have that next step on our formula. So height times width halved or divided by 2. Awesome. Now, in terms of some follow-up at work for this, then I will link into the description box of the YouTube video. Now, this is from Maths Salamanders, and what I got here was a whole range, and the reason I've done this is it's a range of levels. So you can work with some really more foundation area and perimeter worksheets up to some higher level stuff and working in with some different shapes, pentagons, hexagons. I'm trying to make the videos cater to a few more levels. So I'm trying to find follow-up work that you can do around different grades or different year levels. Again, if you are a Greenacres Ngāhere student or any Greenacres student at all, please take photos, send them to me through your Seesaw or through Google Classroom. I'd really love to see them. So I'll put this link in the description box. Have fun, enjoy, and looking forward to seeing some of your area and perimeter maths. Thanks, team.